Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be reviewing a Z1000, and as you notice right off the bat, you see it has a sleeker design, more futuristic. I remember seeing one of these motorcycles in the dealership, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It has 16 valves, 1043 cc motor, and then one of the things you'll notice right off the bat is this huge gas tank, and then it has a digital dash, so we're going to be talking about that also. This is one of the sweetest sounding motorcycles I've ever seen, with dual Kawasaki exhaust. In the daylight you'll have one light on. At nighttime you could put two lights on, or just ride around with two lights, but it's very bright lights. This is a 6-gear bike, so it's one down, then neutral, then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way up. Tires are awesome, they grip really well, and what we want to find out with this Ninja, with this Kawasaki Z1000, is it flickable? Is it easy to handle? And also, do you get a lot of wind on the freeway? So you notice the most striking part of this motorcycle is the front. See how you have a short windscreen, and of course you can get some double bubble windscreens or zero gravity windscreens that go up higher, but I tested on the freeway and it's designed in a way where, notice the seats over here and the windscreen's pretty far in front of you, so it actually has the wind go directly over you. So let's get on and we're going to start the biking. We'll give it a few revs. When you hear this, it sounds nice. Now look at the dash. The dash, you have basically the tachometers here. Is that nice or what? And notice as you're revving it, as you're going up in higher RPMs, the tach will go on. Nothing real complex on the dash, but very easy to read, especially at night. You have a clock, you have the neutral light here, you have the coolant temperature. If it starts to run hotter, you're running low on coolant. Hasn't run hot on us yet. And then you have, notice your brights right here. And so let's go ahead and do a quick rev. Notice there's one light on now, and hit the brights and you got your two lights on. But when I heard this bike, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the nicest, sweetest sounding bike ever. Listen. Oh my gosh. Just amazing. We have the Vortex tank cap here. So what's great about this, there's a little lock here, and you don't have to take the key out and put it in and, you know, fiddle around with the gas. You just flip this lock and then it unscrews and you gas up. So you ready? Let's get going. Now, one of the things I will tell you is the bike is very tall. I'm almost 6 feet tall. I can have my feet planted flat on the ground, but I think if someone was a shorter rider, they may have some issues. You have the throttle here, the clutch lever here, the turn signals, and the kill switch, the horn, the starter, and so let's go. Now, compared to bikes like, let's say, the R6 or something like that, or some very light bikes, this tends to be a heavier bike, but it doesn't feel like that. It just feels really so light. So what we're going to do, we're going to take you to a little bit of the twisties, but first let's see if this bike gets very windy on the freeways. Go ahead, brother. So we're in first gear, and what's cool about this is you can see the tach. We'll go up to second. You can see the tach as we're going along, hopefully. This is a very easy bike to do wheelies with. It's, you know, geared for the low and mid-range, although it doesn't scream like a stuck pig on the freeway. You know, it's very, very smooth on the freeway. So watch how we take this corner. Very flickable. We'll stay in this lane, give it some throttle. Just very easy to handle. It would not be a good first time bike because of the torque, and the first time I got on it, I basically almost did an accidental wheelie because, you know, I had another bike, a R1, and that bike wasn't as like twitchy off the front lines. It was more power on the mid-range and the top end. But now what we're going to do, we're going to get on the freeway, and then I'm going to show you the get up and go. We're going to get on it pretty good. Shifting, you'll notice that it's really short shift. Like, it just seems like first and neutral, and they're all real close together, which, you know, I like that. So we're in second, and here's the freeway up here. Third. But you'll notice we don't get this massive amount of buffeting on the freeway. Really massive power. Just effortless. I had thought that when I got on it that the wind would just be hitting my chest so strong that it would not be a very fun bike. Let's downshift here. But it is. It's, speaking of lane splitting, let's show you this. This is legal in California, howbeit not for the faint of heart. But it's easy to lane split with. The mirrors are adequate, you know, I mean, but what motorcycle has great mirrors? But I'm getting used to the mirrors. They're, you know, adequate. So we're going to get off here in the twisties, but you've been able to see acceleration. You've been able to see lane splitting. Very, very flickable. Let's flip the brights on so they can see us here. So we're going to get off here. So let's downshift. Can't get over how nice that exhaust sounds. A Kropovic. Pretty sure this white car wants to go to the left over here, but you take a look at the dash. Yeah, looks like the corners are almost effortless. I mean, look at this. It's so light. It feels like you're riding a little, well, it's a Ninja, but it feels like you're riding a little Ninja 300 or something as far as the flickability. Let's see if I'm right about this white car. We're getting off here, but yeah, this white car is going to be doing that. So check this here. As we go through this corner here, watch how it effortlessly goes to the right. We're going about 47. Notice it says exit 30, so we're slowing down. We're going to pull back on the left. Watch how that just leans us into the right, just really effortlessly. We didn't really get to see the top end, you know, on the freeway. But we'll get to see some twisties here. So this seems like a good bike for really anything. If you're going long distances, how you doing, brother? If you're going long distances, very comfortable. I rode it about, not that it was a long distance, but about like 60 miles the other day, and it was very, very comfortable. So now we'll take you through the corners, and one of the things I like about this motorcycle also is the
limited fairings on the motorcycle. In California, it gets extremely hot, and I like that there are fairings on the bike to basically move it through the wind, you know, better. Notice there's some fairings, I don't know if you can see, like on the left here, which push the wind past your legs and dissipates the heat of the motorcycle. Another thing too, there's a fuel gauge. I think we mentioned that. A lot of motorcycles will not have a fuel gauge, so that's kind of a nice thing to have. So if you look way up there, it says speed limit 50, so we'll be able to hit this at good speeds. And where this bike really, I believe, comes into its own is on these twisties. I'm slightly leaning forward, although I could sit up straight. So watch this, we'll get on it right here. Just immediate get up and go. You know, it does seem very torquey, and in that I mean that you don't have to really wait for it to get to a certain level on the tack for you to have power. It seems like the power is spread out through the power band very well. And of course, it being a fuel injected bike plus 1043 cc, pretty good size on the cc. And then also 16 valves, very smooth. It seems like predictable power through all 6 gears. You know, if you've ever ridden like a R6, for example, and by the way, to get back to the R6, see where we're hitting these bumps? Doesn't feel like the fillings are going to fall out of your teeth. It takes the bumps very well. So now we're getting on it, and notice I can go all the way up to 6. We're in 6 now, downshift to 5th. So we're going about 50 miles per hour, and it's about 3,500 RPM, and here come the corners. That's the sign we'd like to see. Going down a very steep hill, so we'll just upshift all the way to 6th. When you're at a light, you get a lot of looks, a lot of compliments on the motorcycle. It looks type of motorcycle like Darth Vader would ride. The futuristic look, I really like it. Gone are the big giant plastic windscreens, you know, that are in front of you. And again, I was thinking maybe I'll put a zero gravity windscreen on here because I've seen them, they go up a little bit further. But I've been at pretty good speeds on the freeway, and the wind just basically goes over you. The wind, some of the wind that does hit you seems to be, you know, dissipated by the front fairing here, this windscreen right here. Now the dashboard is adjustable. You can adjust it and tilt it like so. I guess if you were a shorter rider, you would maybe tilt it more like that. Brakes seem excellent. So we're in 6th, and let's test out the engine braking. So you know, we're talking about engine braking. You can get your ECU, you can program your motorcycle to not have engine braking, which means you just coast when you're coming to a stop. I like engine braking because it's just a little added control of the motorcycle. Notice we're in 5th, 4th. There is engine braking. 3rd. Okay, so what we're going to try to do is go back so I can pick up better speed. And here we go. So what we're going to do is we'll turn back. Well, let's hit a couple more things here, but then we're going to go back more in advanced speed where there's no cars in front of it. Second, third. But I mean, check this out. Just amazing power. You almost can lean it a lot more. Some bikes you really have to use that counter steering. This one you counter steer, but not as much. You could actually, you know, lean around the corners. So I want to test a sharp corner that's coming up here, and then we're going to turn around and take it at a more advanced pace. But again, you're reviewing the 2010 Z1000. Prior to 2010, they had like a different body style, different motor. In fact, I found out that the motor is designed for this motorcycle. They're not using the motor from any other motorcycle. 16 valve, 1043. Actually, you know what? Let's do this here. I want to try to turn around, but I just can't. Oh well. We'll turn around up here. Okay, so we got a 35-mile-per-hour corner. Just really easy. This is the corner we're talking about. Upshift. This corner right here coming up really brings out the heart of every motorcycle I've taken here, so I like to test this corner coming up here after the stop sign. You'll be surprised, this corner that we have coming up, some bikes you really got to manipulate it into the corner. I mean, and then some, like when we test drove the 300, the Ninja 250, some of them you just go through it. So here it is right here. So check it out. It says 30 miles per hour. This is the corner that's, I'm not too familiar with this bike as far as in the twisty, so this will be interesting. I've never taken this corner over here on this bike, so let's see. That was easy. Let's try this one. Lots of bumps right here. Yeah, I think if this road wasn't all cruddy like it is, it'd be pretty good. But right here we got, on this little black patch here, we got a lot of bumps. Okay, so now let's see if we can turn around anywhere here where there's no gravel. So the ride's a firm ride. It's firm, like when you hit the bumps, and it is adjustable somewhat, I heard. But when you hit the bumps, you'll get a little bit like, you know, airborne and stuff like that, if the bumps are pretty bad. But it stays planted. Okay, here we go. Here's a place I can turn, I think. signaling. Finally. Alright, this is where we want to turn back. Very gravelly here. One of the things it does do, like corners, very slow, narrow corners, like U-turns when you gotta do a U-turn, pretty well. So let's let that guy get some speed ahead of us. Darn it. Well, this guy's flying, so this will be good. Here we go. Second. We're in second. Third. Fourth. Fifth. Another thing too is the seat feels, it's like flatter. It's hard to explain. It feels like you're actually sitting on a seat rather than some motorcycles. When you get on it, it's more like your legs are sort of wrapped around the motorcycle more. But this is very, very comfortable. Doesn't seem like you'd get a sore rear end on this seat. What's really cool too with the Akrapovic dual exhaust, when you let go of the exhaust like this, I don't know if you can hear it, it'll go blah, 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 blah. Watch right now. Just amazing sound. Okay, so we have 30-mile-per-hour corner around here. Yeah, very predictable. Yeah, almost just leanable. Now, these bikes are hard to find used. So what had happened is Kawasaki came out with these bikes and there wasn't really a market for them, but the bike was ugly. It didn't have like a futuristic design. And it wasn't really a big hit. And then I remember being in the motorcycle dealership, and I'm like, what the heck bike is this? The one that I'm on now. I just looked at the specs and I'm like, wow, that's a 1043 cc motor and dual exhaust, you know, fuel injected. I'm like, wow, that looks really, really good. So if you ever get a chance to test drive one, you'll see like that first gear and second gear, very easy. It's like a wheelie machine, very easy just to flip it up over you. And you know, I've ridden other motorcycles like with this power and less power than this, and I don't know, they just don't seem to have that fun factor. This one is really fun to ride, and you're not expecting it when you get on it. If you type in Z1000 review, you can see more reviews on this. Kawasaki Z1000 review, and they have this one video where everyone is riding it, like female riders, older riders, young riders, and everyone's like, wow, that's a blast. There's another one you can see where this guy, he's a British guy, I believe, and he gets, and we're gonna pick up the pace over here, guys. Once I get to that mountain range, we'll get on it. But he's a British guy and he doesn't like the bike, you know, because he's test driving Ducatis and all these other bikes. And then he makes some modifications to the suspension. He thought the suspension was like too soft. I don't think so. In my opinion, it's perfect to maybe on the firm side. Now, who knows? Maybe the guy I got this from, does racing. So maybe he tweaked the suspension. All right, here comes the, we're going to go up those hills, and I promise you we'll show you some acceleration here. Downshifting. Braking's really good. When you go to brake, it feels very planted. It doesn't feel like the brakes are given away where they don't have that power. Okay, good. You ready? Here we go. Now there is a place up here where we can pass. We're in fourth, fifth. Now, check this out. We're going up a very, very steep hill. I don't know if it's hard to tell on the GoPro, and I, just to show you on the torque, there's no downshifting. I went all the way up to 6. Notice it's like 60 at 4,000 RPMs. That's not bad. Now the sucker looks like it redlines around 11,000 RPM. What the heck happened here? I think he meant to do that. So we're still in 6th. So that's one thing. You could like stay in 6th going slow or fast, like it's got the torque. Just a blast ride. Still in 6th at about 3,000 RPMs. Just testing something to see if we can go slow. Amazing. Didn't have to downshift. What kind of struck me too is there's no temperature gauge. There is a coolant light that I guess comes on if it's starting to overheat, but there's no temperature gauge. So just a blast of a bike. It's you know, you can keep up with the R1s and the R6s going through the twisties. I think in the hands of a very skilled rider, they could even give them a run for their money and, you know, pass them up. So we're going to get on the freeway here. And the freeway on-ramps are like a curved on-ramp as we're getting on, very curved. So we're going to see how this thing takes like sharp corners, and then the traffic is going very fast, like 80 miles per hour downshifting. So we're going to see if you're in an area where they drive like maniacs, we're going to see if this works for you. So notice downshifting. One of the complaints people were saying, of course I can see it, see the dash. I don't know if you can see the neutral light right here. So some people were saying they can't see the neutral light in very bright circumstances. Of course, it's very, very bright here. I can see it. But maybe if the sun's like shining right on it. Here we go. Okay, so takes off very smoothly. You can make it all the way across the intersection, of course, in first. I remember I had a Ninja 250, and here's the freeway right here on the left. And I used to hate when I would ride with other people because I couldn't even make it across the intersection without having to go to second. They're like going all the way into first because it's like a little 250. All right, so we're in fourth. I'm going to downshift to third because these guys are stopping. I don't want to stop. Still in third. So notice we're at 2,000 RPMs in third. See how they're flying here. That's about 80, 85. Third, I'll go up to fourth. Let's see. Yeah, you just throw it over. Very easy. It never feels like you're losing control of it. Fifth. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. This is a 2010 2010 Z1000. The reason why I said I almost said SV1000 is because look right below this video. I'll put a list of videos that I reviewed of motorcycles that I've reviewed before. And one of them was the SV1000. So pretty comfortable. You don't get a lot of wind, like on my chest, my helmet, I'm getting some wind, but a lot of that I think is because I'm behind this truck and it's buffeting. God bless you guys. Have a great week.